Hey, what's up? This is Dave from Revocation, and you're watching Interview Under Fire.
Dave, I want to welcome you to Interview Under Fire, and welcome back to Dallas, of course. And thank you so much for taking the time to sit with me today. You know, it's been a long time coming because for as long as I've been following you guys, this is a bucket list band of mine, which I will mention. A popular topic I always like to talk about with all my guests when they come to our town is about Texas. And you guys have been in Texas for for as long as I remember, so many tours. And Dallas is always one of the cities. What is about Dallas, Dave, that you guys love the most, because you guys always come back here and the fan reception is always just so great to Revocation?
Yeah. Dallas is just, I feel like the scene here has just really grown over the years. I mean, I've been touring for, I don't know, over 10 years myself, so it's kind of cool. You see the changes in different cities. I mean, even just like different places popping up, different venues. Some places go under, the new places come and take their place. So I mean, this venue here, I mean, it was Gas Monkey Bar and Grill before. Now it's Amplified Live or whatever.
Pre-pandemic,
right?
We have to say that now.
Right. The before times. So yeah, I mean, and we've just always had like really excellent shows here. Like the crowds are always like so ravenous. Everyone's just here to have a good time. And it's cool too, because it's a very sort of like diverse crowd. And I love like playing in different places, and like it feels like, I don't know, just like when heavy metal shows come through Dallas, like just so many people show up and like they just have a great time. I don't know, you'll see people like circle pitting and crowd surfing and like singing along, headbang, just like the whole the whole gamut. And it's also like usually like a pretty wide array of like age ranges too. You'll see like the younger generation coming out. You'll see the old heads that have been like to like every show. So exactly, right?
And Travis.
Right. So yeah, I don't know. It's just a great scene here. I don't know like what to attribute that to, but it's also cool because a lot of the newer, I guess a new wave of old school death metal, let's call it, is like coming out of Texas.
Yeah.
Obviously there's like a very strong like hardcore punk scene here too as well. And it's just a vibrant city, and it's awesome to play in the Midwest and know that you're gonna have like just like banging shows like every time you like come through these like southern states, because like there's not too much around when you like, I mean you play everyone always talks about like the coast and stuff like that, and then there's like pretty wide expanses from city to city, so it's nice knowing we can like come through the South and like hit Dallas, and it's like one of the best shows of like the whole tour.
It's almost like you can just build a whole scrapbook just for Dallas alone, because of how many times you guys have been through here. People
for
recognize you. Every time they come through here, it's always, okay, Revocation's on the bill. We have to go to that show. It's like, it's almost like at a point where, and I want to touch back on this because it's almost like another home for you. You're from Boston,
right?
And I feel like you've been here more than Boston at this point in your career.
Probably, yeah. I know, it's funny, and it does feel like home in a cool way. Like, every time we come through Dallas, I mean, Houston last night was great. Austin is great. Like, I mean, just the music scene in Texas overall seems like it's just like really vibrant. But yeah, something about Dallas here. They just always have been vibing what we've been putting down, and we're just so appreciative of the fans that are here and that are down to just come out and fucking headbang with us.
So, I got one word for you, because one thing we haven't touched on yet, and this is a popular topic of discussion when the bands come through our show, Buc-ee's.
Okay.
How many times have you been there? What is your experience? And how would someone like you explain a Buc-ee's to someone who hasn't been there yet?
So it's funny, because I literally went to Buc-ee's today. I got salted cashews.
Hell yeah.
Like a cinnamon
hot
pecan
fudge? Did you get the
thing.
Hot fudge?
No.
Okay.
No hot fudge for me today.
All right, well, there's always something new. So
I was
hot
in a
fudge.
nut mood, I think.
Okay.
The squirrel
Nut moods are always
was speaking to me. So, and I got some jerky. You have to get like some jerky when you come through.
Do you have any like merch, loungewear? Anything
I don't have any. It's funny because I walked in and I saw some like Buc-ee's like swim trunks, and I'm like, those are tempting, but it was just too cold outside, so my mind wasn't in the right.
Can you imagine just the brand is just gonna spread and spread and spread? They're gonna be like Bucky's, like couches and like guitars.
Bucky
even. Like,
coffin, bury me in a Bucky's coffin. Fuck it. Yeah, it's funny, like the level of like lore around Bucky's. It's like, I don't know if it's just the branding or what, but I mean, like I remember my first tours, like going through, you see those like Bucky's signs on the interstate, and you're like, I gotta find out what this place is all about.
What is that chipmunk? Even for me, for someone who's lived in
Dallas. Is it a
Dallas
chipmunk or a squirrel? Chipmunk?
It's a chipmunk.
It's a beaver.
It's a beaver.
Wow, we're all wrong.
My good friend Travis just pitching in. So it's a beaver. Yeah, you're right. It is a beaver.
They have beaver nuggets and all those.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Right.
So yeah, shout out to Bucky's. Now you mentioned being on the road. So here's the thing. This is the first tour right after your European headliner, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
It was not too long ago. I feel you guys just got back from the tour and now are on the road again.
Yeah.
And which brings me to this point. Are there physical and mental hurdles for you personally that you have to go through to just stay on that mindset of being on tour? Because multiple runs like you've been at this for years as well. So how do you just stay in that mode? Like, okay, we got done. Do I get to go home? And if I go home, how much time do I actually get to spend there? Because you kind of have to... Here you are.
Yeah. I think it's all about like mental preparation. So we knew we were going to have these two tours basically back to back. So I guess I kind of went into it with that level of like mental preparation. Like, all right, I'm going to be on tour. I'm going to have like a week at home, and then I'm going to go back out. So there wasn't really any surprises there. I think sometimes it's a little bit more chaotic when you're on tour, and then you get like a tour offer that you can't like turn down. And you just kind of have to go into that. Like that happened on one of our headliners where we were out with Voivod. This was a few years back, and we got a call from Killswitch Engage to go do their European headliner, and it was like I don't even know if there was like a day. It was like we basically had a day off and just like flew out. But how are you going to turn that down? Like all the shows were already sold out. It wasn't even like they didn't even need support bands. They just like wanted to take us out because they wanted us to have us as part of the tour package. And like, oh yeah, all the shows are already sold out, but just come, hang out. And we're like, all right, how can we turn that down? So that was a bit more like, holy shit, like I was expecting to go home and like chill for a bit. But yeah, with this it was already so far in advance, so I think we all kind of knew, we all mentally prepared. I went home for like a week and a half and just kind of like chilled out, enjoyed my bed. But honestly, this lineup and just this whole package is like such a great tour. So I've been looking forward to this one for a while, and I think it always makes it a little bit easier when you're like, all right, cool. Like I get to go like watch a band like Morbid Angel every single night, and we've toured those guys before too, so we know what we're getting into. We've toured with Skeletal Remains before. So there's an air of familiarity there, which makes it a little bit easier. Sometimes when you're going out on tour with a bunch of bands that you don't know, there's a little bit of like a getting to know the other team sort of period. 9 times out of 10, everyone's always super cool in the scene, but there is just that getting to know someone period of tour if you've never been out with another band before. So this one was nice because it felt like, okay, we know like the majority of the dudes on this tour, so it should be pretty. We know what we're getting into, and we know it's going to be a pretty seamless transition back onto the road.
Well, look around you, Dave, and especially look around when you're actually on stage tonight, because I think this is home for you, in a way.
I'm just going to set up a cot in the back.
Dude, it's really amazing to see how far you guys have gotten. I mean, 17 years of Revocation, if I'm not mistaken, also, and you're sticking on the subject of this tour because this current tour, the U.S. Tour of Terror, I think that's what we're calling it. Morbid Angel, Skeletal Remains, Crypta. You're going to have Vitriol join in later. Tell me more about this, because this is an important tour for a lot of death metal fans. You've got some veterans, and you've got some up-and-coming bands from a whole movement of music. I ask a lot of questions about chemistry between members of the same band because I've always find those stories kind of interesting, right? Which we probably will have done if we had a podcast, which we'll probably do later down the line.
Sure.
But I want to ask about the chemistry between the different bands on this tour, because look at the lineup here. I feel like, as a fan, and I feel like a lot of people out there on the field can actually attest to this, you guys complement each other. Do you think it takes chemistry for tours like this to work?
Yeah, I mean, when you're on the road together, you're sharing the same space every day. You're in such close quarters, so I mean, chemistry is very important. You got to make sure that everyone's vibing, everyone's gelling well, and again, luckily we're all here for the same purpose, and there's a bond of like
there's a lot of history too.
A lot of history there for sure. So that really helps. You are away from home, you're away from your friends, your family, loved ones, that whole thing. So it is nice to have that kind of like, I don't know, summer camp feeling or something like that, where you see like old friends and you kind of like catch up. I mean, with the Morbid guys, I mean, our very first show on this tour was like just a couple days ago. We played like Pensacola like on Wednesday, I want to say.
It's still early in the tour too.
Yeah, super early in the tour. So we played Pensacola, and like day one, it's like just hanging out with Steve Tucker. Like I'm like changing my strings. We're just like shooting the shit. Like, oh yeah, what have you been up to the past couple of years? You guys working on music and just kind of shooting the shit and having this like a good time, like hanging out and like catching up on a bunch of stuff. So it makes you feel like it humanizes the whole process. When you can just kind of like sit down and like hang out and like shoot the shit with. I mean, those dudes are legends, but it's nice you can just like grab a cup of coffee or whatever and just like hang out. Yeah.
We'll cut that. No worries. But I love that you share that, because it's like you're fans of them, and now it's just their family to you.
Yeah. It's a great feeling. It really is to just be able to hang out and have some laughs. Just there's a certain camaraderie with tour. Because again, we're all out here. We're logging like hundreds of miles a day. It's just kind of this nomadic traveling tribe of death metal lunacy, it's nice.
And it's still growing in the meantime.
And it's still growing, and that's why it's just nice to like chill and like kick back and like just have like a nice conversation, and it makes it feel like home. I guess that's sort of the theme of the interview here.
And that's a good point. And is it weird thinking you're about to reach? 20 years isn't that far away. Revocation. Before you answer, because here's the thing. I feel as if you guys have also one-upped yourselves with Netherheaven. The cool thing about Revocation is that you guys just find a way. Even with the outer ones. I thought that was the best album. But then, nope. You guys have to drop another one to fuck with my mind on my favorite Revocation albums. And my buddy Travis can attest to that. Is there a challenge on keeping things fresh after 17 years, Dave? Or is it just something that comes naturally to you? And are you someone who looks back on that?
A lot to unpack there.
A loaded question, I know.
Yeah,
Weigh the wings for this one.
It's crazy to think about, just to think back on our career and sort of, how far we've come and all the different tours we've been on and places we've traveled and, awesome people we've met in the scene, and again, it's still growing. It's something that I can look back on and like fondly reminisce about, but it also is weird because it doesn't even like register to me. Like it doesn't feel like it's been almost 20 years. You know what I mean? And like for a lot of this shit, it just feels like it was like, the other day or something like that.
That's a good thing,
because some of those memories are just like so like fresh in your mind, and I guess you're living it day to day, right? So it's harder to kind of like zoom out and like look at like the whole like career, because I do that with like other bands that I'm a fan of, like, oh man, look at like Cannibal Corpse's career, or look at Death's career, or Morbid Angel, right? This is like, it's like their fucking 40th anniversary of like how long they've been doing this shit. Like that like blew my mind.
That's weird to think about too.
Right, like it's such a trip. So it's crazy that we're approaching the halfway mark ourselves, in terms of like we're almost 20 years old. So it's cool because it doesn't feel old at all. It still feels exciting and refreshing to get back out there. We all got a couple gray hairs now. We're a little bit long in the tooth here and there, but I think playing music, especially this type of music, it kind of keeps you young, and it keeps you hungry, and it keeps you striving for that next thing. In terms of the writing of the music and the the output that we've had, I do appreciate that. I tend to agree. I think we want to put out the best record that we possibly can every time we put out a new album. So to us, the new record that we work on, I think we can always kind of comfortably say is our sort of favorite thing. Probably because it's the freshest thing, and we're all excited when we're working on it. And we just like to play new shit live. It's great playing the old stuff, but for us, it's cool coming out there and playing like a bunch of songs that like people are hearing for the first time. There's an energy that is hard to kind of recapture there. I mean, it's great when you play a song and people have heard it like their fourth or fifth time, and they know they're getting the pit when that song is coming on. But it is a really cool experience to see, like, you know, someone in the crowd or multiple people have like a reaction to, yeah, you know, you're playing their favorite song from the new record, and they're seeing it and experiencing it for the first time. So that's a really magical experience, and I've had those experiences too. I mean, that's why I continuously go out to see my favorite bands, because I'm like, oh, I hope they play this song, you know, and then, or maybe they play a song that's different than that, and it blew my mind live, and then I go back and listen to the record, and I'm like, oh, now this song's my new favorite, because I saw them play it live, and it caught my ear in a different way, or, you know, seeing the visual presentation of the music, you know, it does something to you. There's no substitute for live music, no matter how much digital shit or whatever. I mean, all that stuff is great, but, you know, seeing a band hit a stage and having that raw energy and just delivering, it's just so palpable, and I don't think any type of like virtual reality, whatever, can never take away from that real experience of seeing a band get up there and kill it. So yeah, with Netherheaven, I think it's our best one to date. The reaction to it's been super positive, and it's been great to hear so many fans that have been with us for a long time, day one, that they're like, Netherheaven's my favorite. It's like, all right, hell yeah, we're still doing it right, because we don't try to ever you know, dumb things down or make things, you know, sort of more commercially viable, or like, we don't think about any of that stuff when we're writing music. Like, what we think about is like, you know, all right, how can we write the best record that we want to write in that mindset. Of course, you take certain things into, you know, into consideration, like, oh, like, how's this song going to hit live and things like that. And in a way, like, the more you tour and the more you play in front of different audiences, I don't know, you can kind of get inspired by that live element. So certain things do come in and obviously influence you when you're writing. I mean, you know, we're all human beings. We're artists that are interacting with different elements of, you know, our own musical tastes and, you know, touring and society in general, whatever. You could extrapolate that out and be as general as you want with it. But when you kind of boil it down, we've always written music for ourselves first and foremost, and it's so great that we have, you know, a dedicated fan base that is down with that and allows us to take those creative risks and to do different things and to bring something new to the table. I think we have an established sound at this point for sure, but at the same time, every time we put out a record, we're going to try to push the boundaries of our sound in one way or another, and hopefully surprise people. I mean, I don't think any one Revocation record sounds
the same. You know, like hopefully it all sounds like us in a general sense, of course, but, you know, because we want to have our own voice as musicians. But I think, you know, it's kind of like an unexpected thing when it comes to, you know, the Revocation sound. And yeah, I'm excited to start working on the next one. Dude, don't even get me started on the next one. You guys just dropped, and I've been, you know, Netherheaven's been on my rotation repeatedly since it dropped, and it's really cool. I want to mention that you guys have evolved, you know, since when you first started, and that's a great thing to see. It's not easy to put out the number of albums that you have in 17 years, but you're doing that, and the fact that you're seeing results, I think that's an important thing to mention.
Thank you. Yeah.
No, thank you. As we close it out here, man, dude, I want to thank you so much for just talking with me today.
Thank you, bro.
This is like, I might as well just close up shop after this. I'm not going to, but you get what I'm saying?
Gotta keep it going.
But do you have any last words? Anything you want to mention to the fans? Anything about this tour, about Netherheaven going forward? You know, you got a whole year ahead.
Yeah. I mean, we're all systems go right now in this tour. You know, if you're watching this interview and this tour is coming through a city near you, definitely don't miss this one. It's crazy. I mean, you have death metal royalty, you know, and the legacy of Morbid Angel, and you've got a bunch of, you know, bands that are coming out and, you know, pushing the genre in different directions, and some new blood there, and the whole thing. So it's a cool, you know, sort of timeline of death metal here. So definitely don't miss this tour. Check out the new record, Netherheaven.
Please do.
if you haven't checked it out yet. And yeah, I would say just in general, thanks to you for the interview, and thanks to everyone in Texas and Dallas specifically for the support. It means the world to us, and yeah, Texas really does feel like a second home for us now. So
we appreciate
happy to an honorary Texan if you'll have me.
And next time, I want to see those Buc-ee's loungewear. They have that shit. I'm telling you, it's amazing.
I'm gonna do a full Buc-ee's tracksuit.
You have to, and you have to go up there and perform in it. That'd be so great. Sorry,
We'll have to do like a Buc-ee's like a T-shirt design or something like that with like the Revocation logo.
Okay, see now you're thinking
like a beaver skull or something, and do like a one-off just for
that'd be
for
so
Texas.
rad, dude.
That way we don't get sued by Buc-ee's.
All right, Dave. Thanks so much, man. Go crush
you.
it out there, man. You have a great tour.
Thank you.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to Interview Under Fire podcast. If you guys like what you heard, please subscribe and share our channel. And please leave a 5-star review, as that helps us tremendously. If you'd like to check out more, visit www.interviewunderfire.com or our social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And finally, we want to thank you all for the support you've been giving us. Keep it burning.